Extra patrols on the TTC.
We still are available to respond to calls for service. We will have a presence in the subway system as well.
The increased presence was introduced after several high-profile cases of violence on transit. We'll have reaction tonight. Plus,
yes way, I think we need a dance break.
It's Canada's biggest night in music. We'll have all the highlights and notable moments from the 2023 Junos. And
our wait lists, it's not a point of lack of spaces, lack of physical space, lack of capital, it's lack of people to provide the care.
Concerns that a massive shortage of workers could threaten the $10 a day childcare program. Toronto police say they are ending extra patrols on city transit that were introduced in late January. The controversial move was made after several high-profile violent incidents on the system. Dale Manukduk has the latest.
Toronto Police says it is modifying its approach to deployment of police officers on the transit system. It was in January that 80 police officers were placed across the network at a price tag of about $1.5 million per month in overtime patrols. Those extra officers are off the system effective today.
Scaling it back kind of just leaves us on our own again.
The fact they're cutting back is a little nerve-wracking, honestly.
The deployment came in the wake of several high-profile incidents, including multiple stabbings, a rioter being shot with a BB gun, and assaults to TTC staff. Toronto Police is returning to deploying on-duty officers during regular work hours.
We still are maintaining a presence in the transit system, but it'll be done with on-duty resources, intelligence-led, determining where we are needed most.
Police say since late January, officers made more than 300 arrests, including a firearm seizure. TTC data shows there were 1,068 violent incidents against passengers in 2022, up 46% from the previous year.
We know that in January, the number of incidents declined from December. We're still crunching numbers for February, but we're optimistic that we'll see that trend continue.
Meanwhile, police say during overtime patrol, officers made more than 220 referrals to individuals needing help in accessing social assistance supports, including shelter, food, and mental health services. But not everyone was in favor of police on the system. Many, including this poverty advocate, says it was a waste of money. She calls the implementation and quick withdrawal a slap in the face.
We see the police got funding without evidence approach and not referring to really good research, not just in Canada, but North America. That says time and time again, policing isn't the way to go. It actually creates unsafe communities.
The TTC added 50 temporary security guards, some community safety ambassadors, and streets-to-home outreach workers, which will continue. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
A Toronto court began hearing the appeals for the two men convicted of murdering Laura Babcock and Tim Bosma. Dylan Millard and Mark Smitch were both sentenced to decades in prison without a chance at parole. Smitch's lawyer is arguing the jury in the case wasn't properly told how to balance the evidence against him. Ali Chiasson has more.
The wounds for the Bosma and Babcock families are open once again.
There's no such thing as closure. If anybody tells you that they've never been through anything like this or even close to it.
Dylan Millard and Mark Smitch are appealing their murder convictions. Today, it was about Laura Babcock, who the Crown argued Millard enlisted Smitch's help to murder back in 2012 to help settle a love triangle with his then-girlfriend. Smitch would be ineligible for parole until 50 years, Millard for 75 years. But since the Supreme Court ruled last May that consecutive sentences are unconstitutional, if Smitch and Millard fail to successfully appeal their convictions, they will be entitled to a shortened life sentence of 25 years in prison with no parole. Laura Babcock's mother made her disdain clear.
Well, we're disgusted at the Supreme Court. That means our daughter gets no justice.
As for the grounds in which they are arguing their appeals, Smitch's lawyer says the trial judge failed to properly instruct the jury on determining Smitch's liability for the actual murder, asking the court plainly and rhetorically, what is it that Mr. Smitch is alleged to have done? They're suggesting the case relied too heavily on his conduct after the murder, even bringing up incriminating rap lyrics he penned about Babcock. Quote, the lyrics refer to the burning of the body and the disposal of the phone, but nothing in the lyrics are suggestive in any way, shape, or form of participation in the act that led to death. That's something Millard's lawyer jumped on too. Smitch's rap may have been found on his computer too, and regardless of how incriminating it may sound, it amounts to hearsay. In response to the arguments made today, the Crown says the jury that convicted them fairly considered all of the evidence they described as overwhelming. Millard was following the proceedings from jail via video link. He plans to represent himself in appealing his conviction in the murder of Tim Bosma and his father, Wayne Millard, later this week. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Meteorologist Jay Scotland joins us now with a first look at the forecast. And Jay, I'm hoping this midwinter feeling weather isn't sticking around.
Well, Talia, for your Tuesday, the thicker jacket, certainly a must tomorrow. The wind will have some bite to it. It will be quite breezy as well. And as we edge into the overnight hours tonight across the lower Great Lakes and the Golden Horseshoe, we will see some scattered flurries, more in the way of that steadier snow tapering off. This forecast model not picking up on it, but that wind coming in from the north to northwest, if you're downwind of a lake and there's open water, you can expect maybe some steadier flurry activity. Keeping my eye on the Niagara region tomorrow. Nothing too heavy, but whatever's falling will be blowing as that wind will be quite gusty. As we move through the day tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies. I'm going to keep that risk of flurries in the forecast for as we look into the Niagara region tomorrow. So Haldimand, as we look further east towards the falls, up into Hamilton and across the GTA and north, we are looking at more in the way of a mostly cloudy sky through the afternoon tomorrow, and temperatures will be quite chilly. So we could see some morning flurries here in Toronto to start the day tomorrow. That wind making -5 feel below -10, factoring in the wind chill, and even through the afternoon, topping out between 0 and -3 across the region, likely going to feel between -7 and -10 with the wind chill. So you'll need to bundle up. It will be a breezy one, and that's going to feel quite cold with the wind chill for your Tuesday. Talia?
Thanks, Jay. Canada's biggest night in music is in the books. The Juno Awards wrapping up tonight in Edmonton, with Scarborough's very own The Weeknd taking home some of the top prizes.
Juno for Album of the Year goes to Dawn FM, The Weeknd.
He wasn't at the awards show, but The Weeknd won Best Album. He had already secured quite a bit of hardware throughout Juno's weekend before the televised event, winning 4 awards. Some of tonight's other big winners include Jessie Reyez, Preston Pablo, and Avril Lavigne, who won the Fan Choice Award. To break it all down from Edmonton, where the Junos are this year, we have CBC senior entertainment reporter Jackson Weaver. Jackson, busy night. Thanks so much for joining us. Now we expected the Weeknd to clean up, and he sure did.
Yeah, no, this was not only a big night for The Weeknd, it was a big weekend for The Weeknd. Now he took 4 awards home on Saturday night, and he only continued that streak tonight, where he finished with, as you said, Album of the Year. Now that's 5 awards for him this year, and that brings his total of career wins to 21, tying him for the second most of any Canadian in Juno's history. He's tied with Bryan Adams. The only one above both of them is Anne Murray. Now, he only failed to win a single award when, as you said, Avril Lavigne took home Fan Choice. It's the 4th time she has won that award, her 10th career win. Now, it was, I would imagine, especially momentous for her, as this year marks 20 years since her very first appearance at the Junos back in 2003. She was honored last year at the Juno Awards, but this was just a special moment for her, and it was just one of the big wins that capped off the biggest night in Canadian music.
Now, Nickelback is a contentious topic for a lot of people, but the band was recognized tonight for its contributions to Canadian music. What did we hear from band members?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I spoke with Nickelback both on the red carpet ahead of the night tonight and back earlier this year. Now, I will say they're very aware of the jokes that we have all made about them, but they take it in stride, and they say they're just honored and surprised and just jubilant to be recognized at this stage in their career so many years after they first started, after so many years of success. Now, I also talked to a number of other performers who were either nominated for Saturday Saturday or nominated tonight, and I asked them what their most anticipated performance was, and many people said Nickelback. That includes Tate McRae. She was so excited for Nickelback. Chauclair was so excited for Nickelback. Chaos was ecstatic for Nickelback. He's a big Chad Kroeger fan. Now, we also saw other performances, 50th anniversary of hip-hop with some huge names in Canadian hip-hop taking the stage, including Chauclair, Maestro Fresh West, Havaya Mighty, and there's also a little bit of an impromptu performance at the very end, I would say. Now, when Avril Lavigne was presenting an award earlier on in the night, a woman took to the stage topless with a number of symbols on her body, words saying "Land Back, Save the Green Belt." Now, she was escorted off the stage as Avril Lavigne had some strong words for her, and afterwards, back in the green room, Simu Liu spoke with all of us press, saying that it was the most Canadian way to escort someone off stage, in which she was very gently ushered back into the crowd. Now, it was maybe a little bit of the slap that we all remember from last year at the Oscars coming here to the Junos.
Thanks for this tonight, Jackson.
Thank you so much.
Childcare providers in the province are desperately searching for staff. The shortage is so severe that it could spell trouble for the national $10 a day childcare program. Senior reporter Mike Crawley has the latest story in our Workers Wanted series.
Building a tower of blocks is something any kid can do pretty much on their own.
Would you like to use that?
Building a national childcare program, well, that needs a whole lot of help.
Beep, beep, beep.
Early childhood educators are in such short supply that childcare centers, like this one at Toronto's West End YMCA, can't even meet the demand for spots right now.
Our wait lists, it's not a point of lack of spaces, lack of physical space, lack of capital, it's lack of people to provide the care.
The YMCA of Greater Toronto is licensed for another 19,000 childcare spots that it cannot put kids in.
Why? Because we don't have the human resources to fill those spaces.
All that is prompting concern that $10 a day childcare will not be available to all parents who want it.
The program is being designed for people to get access to high quality, affordable childcare. We need to have the human resources to provide that care.
No disagreement from the federal minister overseeing the childcare plan.
We cannot achieve our objectives if we do not have a talented, well-qualified, caring, and well-compensated workforce.
To staff the new spaces being promised in Ontario over the next 3 years, the province estimates it will need another 15,000 childcare workers. The government's own forecast for the sector falls 8,000 workers short.
It's terrible. This is the worst workforce crisis childcare has ever faced, and we've had recruitment and retention issues in childcare for years, before the pandemic, but it's just gotten so much worse.
For parents, the staffing crisis threatens to make the already long wait for a daycare spot even longer.
But what we're going to see is huge wait lists, ballooning wait lists for childcare, because childcare programs can't staff.
Good job, Jane.
In Ontario, the average early childhood educator, or ECE, works in childcare for just 3 years.
As much as you build these childcare centers, if there are no ECEs to staff them, those are empty rooms.
And that puts the vision of a national childcare program in doubt. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
Volkswagen has chosen our province to build its first overseas electric vehicle battery facility. It'll be located in St. Thomas near London, bringing auto jobs back to an area that saw a Ford assembly plant close over a decade ago. Minister of Economic Development Vic Fideli spoke about what this means for Ontario.
So from zero battery, zero electric vehicle business to second in the world for the battery supply chain is very significant. It's $17 billion, and now, of course, the Gigafactory for Volkswagen will add significantly to that.
The Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association says as many as 2,500 direct jobs and another 5,000 indirect positions could be created as a result of the plant. Production is set to start in 2027. Ontario's Labour Minister announced legislation today to tighten rules around mass layoffs. He says employees who work from home don't have the same protections as their in-office counterparts.
Currently, our employment laws treat remote workers as second class, meaning they don't receive the enhanced severance payments that their in-office colleagues do during mass layoffs. This is wrong, and we're going to fix it.
McNaughton says employers often take advantage of remote workers who aren't eligible for the same notice as office workers. Under the proposed changes, employees working from home would receive 8 weeks' notice or severance pay in mass terminations. That's the same as their in-office counterparts. The legislation would also require employers to provide new hires with information about their job in writing. That includes pay, work location, and hours of work.
Bo Bichette jumps on another one. Absolutely punished.
That home run put the Jays up to 8 runs in a spring training game today. But would you believe they actually doubled that score? The Jays would go on to stomp the Boston Red Sox by a score of 16-3. Bo Bichette belted 2 home runs en route to the win. Nipissing First Nation Chief Scott McLeod says a sacred headdress that was stolen over the weekend in Mississauga has been recovered. Chief McLeod is in Mississauga for the Little Native Hockey League tournament, and his First Nation Nipissing is hosting the event. His vehicle, which had the headdress in it, was stolen from a Mississauga hotel parking lot early Saturday morning. McLeod issuing a statement yesterday appealing for its safe return. He says Peel Police called him today, saying they found the vehicle thanks to his satellite radio. McLeod says the headdress was reconstructed after 2 years of research by elders and historians and is one of a kind. The competition at the Little Native Hockey Tournament officially kicked off today. It's Ontario's largest Indigenous hockey tournament, but organizers say it's about way more than just the games. Meg Roberts has more.
A lot of people go to Florida, go to Cancun for holidays. Our people come to the Little NHL.
After a 3-year hiatus, the Little Native Hockey League tournament is back. About 2,500 people from across the province have traveled to Mississauga to compete this week. But it's not just the hockey that was so missed.
As Anishinaabe people, we're people that like to gather and like to hang out with each other, so the pandemic was really tough to be stuck at home.
It's something that's in my family for like ever, and it's just awesome to be back finally.
It's like a nice big welcome bag. It feels very like home, like a good, soft, good feeling.
As well as a reunion, it also provides a space to look for career opportunities or explore post-secondary education options.
The hockey is great on the ice, but we're really trying to build good citizens.
The event started 49 years ago after Indigenous players were being denied opportunities to play hockey. It started with 17 teams. This week, there are 185 competing, including several girls' teams.
The girls' game just keeps getting better and better, and I just think it's a testament to Indigenous hockey and also to the communities. The communities are working really hard to make sure that their kids are participating in sports.
It's kind of like playing with your family in a way.
To play its part in contributing to the tournament's inclusivity, Hydro One announced today it will grant $1,500 to 35 coaches at the tournament to go towards travel expenses and time away from home.
How important it is to, when you look up to your coach, to see a face that looks like yours, that comes from a community like yours. It is something that is so critical to keeping our kids in sports.
Some coaches have traveled for nearly 3 days to be at the tournament, which runs until Thursday. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Toronto.
And there's a live look at the city skyline tonight, sitting at around -2 degrees after a chilly, cloudy day. And Jay's back now with our extended forecast. Jay, even though it snowed again today, I'm still sensing that spring is in the air.
Well, as we look ahead to your Tuesday, I know we're getting closer to that official start of spring, but some cooler, well below seasonal, some cooler than normal weather ahead as we look to tonight and tomorrow. As we move past midnight, we will watch for that steadier flurry activity for most areas to become more scattered in nature, tapering off. Downwind of the lakes, we may see a few bands of steadier flurries building in. It's not too heavy, but where it's falling, it will be blowing, as there will be some pretty gusty conditions to start the day tomorrow. We've got a powerful storm system, nor'easter, working its way up the Atlantic coast of the U.S. That'll bring 10 to over 25 centimeters, parts of Atlantic Canada. But we have a nice ridge of high pressure that is moving in, keeping that storm system off to our east. And On the back end of it, though, a brisk northerly wind and a few scattered flurries will be in the forecast tomorrow with quite a biting wind chill. That wind coming in northwesterly, anywhere from 25 to 50 kilometers per hour. Gusts for some exposed areas could top 60 km, so that will result in some brisk winds that result in a biting wind chill. So do be prepared for that tomorrow. As we look into your Tuesday night, we do see that ridge of high pressure clearing the sky. The wind into Wednesday morning still breezy, but easing through the day with more sun than cloud on your Wednesday. And temperatures back around where they should be for a daytime high 4 or 5 degrees on the plus side. We will watch for a few clouds to build in afternoon, evening from the west as we look to your Wednesday afternoon. Sunny start to the day to look forward to on Wednesday, though. Mostly cloudy, flurries off and on continuing, maybe some steadier flurries as we look east of Haldeman, Norfolk, down towards the St. Catharines area, the Falls tomorrow. But nothing very, very heavy in terms of that snow falling. We will watch for a mostly cloudy sky today with flurries downwind of the water, maybe persisting into the afternoon, and then breaks of sunshine becoming a bit more frequent as we look to the late afternoon and early evening before that sun does set. It will be cold again Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, but lots of sunshine. Temperatures do really improve as the wind eases into Wednesday afternoon. Late day rain on Thursday could fall a bit heavy at times into Friday for St. Patrick's Day. We cool off again with maybe a few flurries back in the forecast, though, Talia, for the weekend.
Thanks, Jay. Finally tonight, the kids are celebrating the return of March break. Parents, well, maybe not so much, but some have found activities to keep their kids entertained.
I think especially after the last few years, it's really nice to have more opportunities for people to sort of be out and about, and the kids to kind of like be out and about.
I feel like the best part is you get at least a mental health like free from school. Like you get fresh air, feel out the nature.
Some families taking in the fun at High Park Zoo. There's plenty of other events happening this week for families at the AGO and in the Distillery District. Plus, Toronto's day camps are also open. Workers in the tourism sector say this March break is important as the industry continues to recover from the pandemic. And that's our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Good night.